It is now almost 2 weeks after that paper ran the now notorious "The Man Who Hated Britain" article about Ralph Miliband. Ed Miliband, the Labour leader, called the story a lie and called for an apology. The paper refused, and Paul Dacre has yet to be seen in public or to make any public statement about the furore his paper has caused. Our chief correspondent, Alex Thompson, has this report.
Late last night and still no sign of Mail editor Paul Dacre at his large townhouse in West London. Then, towards 11 p.m, his chauffeured car arrives. The occupants see myself and cameraman waiting, then reverse, off into the night. A short time later, a man arrives on foot and enters Paul Dacre's house. He goes up to the room on the top floor and emerges moments later with an overnight bag.
Can you just would you give us a message to Mr. Dacre? We just want to get his side of the story and ask him what his message is for Ed Miliband. Could you relay that message to him?
Out on the high street, the man makes a phone call before getting into the same car up another street and driving off. It seems Paul Dacre won't be home tonight after all.
So the man with the overnight bag has now disappeared into the night, and it seems therefore that Paul Dacre would prefer to spend a night away from his home rather than answer a few really straightforward, simple questions. Does he agree with Ed Miliband that the paper's losing touch with the values of its own audience, that there needs to be an urgent review of the ethics of the Daily Mail? Straightforward enough stuff.
Yet, by pure coincidence, today's Daily Mail is suddenly nice about the man it had claimed hated Britain. Today's editorial saying merely he only hated much about this country. And then, let us say something in Ralph Miliband's favour. He fought for Britain in the war, and never once, as far as we are aware, did he give practical help to our enemies. By another coincidence today, Lord Justice Leveson was before MPs, again saying that the press watchdog, for which Paul Dacre is a committee chairman, is useless.
To what extent do you think the editor's code would be more likely to be enforced if the code committee were not chaired by the editor of a newspaper, which is one of the most complained about?
Independent self-regulation means independent self-regulation. The industry must set up their regulator for themselves. But what I am keen that it should do is be A, independent, and B, effective.
It was the Leveson report which said Paul Dacre and Mail executives appear unwilling or incapable of understanding that printing false information about people is damaging and hurtful. That remains the central issue between Paul Dacre and the Labour leader, and Ed Miliband has David Cameron and Nick Clegg on his side. Paul Dacre's silence only prolongs that issue, and with wider media regulation boiling up to a crisis in the UK, his silence on the wider issues gets daily more and more inexplicable.